A somber week indeed, Trent. The Georgia Bulldogs lost to the South Carolina Gamecocks, guys, and we're here for you. We're here for you. We're going to talk through it together. 620 UGA Talk. Trent, was not the game I don't think anybody, even Vegas, expected.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I definitely wasn't expecting it. And I think it when you go back and I guess hear what Kirby Smart had to say before the game, I guess it was on a radio show or something, that he said that I got to go get my team ready to play. They're not ready to play.
Right. Yeah, we're going to talk on
But,
that.
I mean, first off, that's not a good thing to say because, I mean, ultimately that's on the coach's job to get the team ready. And to me, that shows they got some leadership issues that they need to get ironed out because, back in 2017 or whatever, you wouldn't find a team that wasn't ready to play. I mean, they got dominated against Auburn, but I wouldn't say they wasn't ready to play.
Right.
So I think there's some leadership issues among the team, and I think the coaching staff has to do a better job of getting the team ready to play.
Yeah, and guys, first off, in advance, if you see some of these photos coming across the screen, I did not get a chance to take out the bad ones. Roddy was not shooting these photos. These were mine. Not the greatest. First time ever with that big lens. But Roddy and Jim Donnan and Dane, they all had a, what would you call it, watch party, if you would. Went very well. Obviously, if you were over watching us on UGA Sports on Saturday during the game, really good reaction to that. They're going to be doing that again this week, guys, so make sure to tune into that. But, Trent, overall, this game leaves a lot of question marks. And there's a lot of question marks on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. So, guys, get your questions in. What side of the ball do you guys want to start on? Offense or defense? First word I see, offense or defense, we're going to start there. But, Trent, just overall, in terms of the actual game, I know you touched on it. There were a lot of things that went wrong, both sides of the ball.
There were, and I don't think it – the only positive that came out of that game was the punts. I think
wow, okay.
I mean, Camarda averaged like 65 yards a punt. I think that was very – I mean, that was something that he needed to go out and do. Now, with that being said, the offense, man, it was bad. I thought the defense played well enough to win. Did they play their best? No. They played well enough to win the game. I mean, they gave up, one offensive touchdown? And when you give up one offensive touchdown, you should win any game you play.
13 points.
So, I mean, when you – and 3 of them were in overtime. Correct. So, you're looking at a defense that didn't play its best. I would like to see a couple more negative plays. I didn't think they got the push up front. I think that what it ultimately came down to is, and what I didn't expect, and Georgia's dominated the line of scrimmage under Kirby Smart against Will Muschamp the last 2 years, and I thought it was the opposite. I thought Kirby Smart's team got dominated in the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you got to think that, right? You have to think that both sides of the ball, and let's remind folks that the South Carolina team had a lot of players on it that Georgia recruited. Rick Standage, who started on that defensive line, was a very big recruit that Georgia wanted. Jamie Robinson was another one that Georgia was going heavily after. So they had some guys over there. Got our first caller calling in, guys.
Call from
Joseph.
Joseph, how's it going? You're on with Paul and Trent.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, man. Good. You a member over at UGAsports.com?
No, I'm not, unfortunately.
All right, Joseph. You only get to ask one question. It's got to be very, very brief. I'm just kidding, man. What's going on?
Yeah, man. I just wanted to get y'all's take on what seems to be a recurring theme with Kirby and just being overly conservative on offense. I think it showed up Notre Dame, Tennessee, and then obviously bit us against South Carolina. I wanted to see if you think it's a Kirby issue or maybe Coley wasn't the right guy.
No, I appreciate the question, man. We're going to go ahead and hang up so we don't have so much feedback. But give us your score prediction. We'll get to that question. Score prediction for this week's game.
Yeah, I think it'll be I think we bounce back. It's 42-14.
42-14 from Joseph. Man, appreciate the call, man.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Trent, Joseph brings up a really good point. I knew we were going to get it. I didn't know we were going to get it on the first question.
I don't think it's just the offense is conservative, which goes back to the head of the ball team, because
That water
what-
bottle just broke in my hand, Trent.
when you never put your punt return team on the field, when you ask the punter to go out and when you ask the punt returner, which is Dominic Blaylock, to go out and fair catch every punt, when you 3 minutes to go in the game and the offense moving at a snail's pace and they're just playing to tie the game, they're not playing to win, they're not playing to go score and get the ball back, they're playing to tie the game. I think that is just a conservative issue for the whole team. I don't think it's James Coley. There's some play calling issues with James Coley that I thought that I would like to know what was going on. But as far as the conservative part, I think that is the whole team was conservative. I don't think it was just the offense. I think there was a lot of if you look back at it, I think there's a lot of areas in that game where there was some conservative going on, and I think that's an issue that Kirby's had, and it finally came back to bite him.
Conservative would be a key word there. Overthinking would probably be another key word there. Overanalyzing would be another key word. All those things Kirby's really good at. He's good at overthinking a situation to having an exact game plan. And I've said this to numerous people who have asked me the past few weeks, what is it with Kirby Smart's offense? Or what is it with Kirby Smart's defense? And my answer is very simple. It's he's probably one of the top 3 game planners in America in terms of knowing what a team is going to throw at him in the first and second quarters. Now, when things change, when things happen to where it's a backup quarterback, let's not go back to Jalen and Tua and Jalen, and then go to Helinski and Joyner. A backup quarterback of different skill set came into the game after Helinski was hurt. There wasn't a game plan. You saw it against Alabama the last 2 times they've played. And yes, the game plan that he had for Helinski, it seemed to be working okay. Joyner made some things happen with his legs that I don't think Helinski would have been able to do. But at the same token, he's their 3rd-string quarterback. Like, he's a guy that Georgia passed over to get Fields, where Fields is now gone. Joyner's at South Carolina. We'll go, that long rabbit hole. But anyway, my point being, I think he's one of the top game planners in the country. But when it gets to something happening like a quarterback going down or, something going out of whack, Trent, I think that is where his downfall is and where he's got to get better.
Yeah, and I mean, in turn, they didn't give up any points to Joyner. I mean,
sure.
There was no points put on the board. I think the issue in the second half was I think Kirby is outstanding game planner, and I think he's an outstanding adjuster at the half. The defense usually comes out in the second half and shuts down. Almost every time. And they did it again, and they look good again. The issue is they're not making the adjustments on the offense side of the ball. You saw no adjustments. Every third down is their go-to play on 3rd and long is the back shoulder throw. It's not that was not working. They were taking it away, and it was obvious that they were taking it away to start the game. They were running a cover 1. What's open in cover 1? Quick slants, rub routes in the middle, but they chose to keep going to the outside when South Carolina was daring them to go to the outside. That's the reason why you saw a lot of the receivers get jammed. I mean, they're trying to go somewhere that South Carolina is just really preventing them from going. They're like, you ain't going to beat us with a back shoulder throw. You're not going to beat us with that back shoulder throw. And you saw them running into a brick wall because that's what they were trying to stop that.
Trent, we got some posts coming in over here. First off, Kovacevic, what's up, man? Back again with us. I think you've been here every time, so appreciate it. Bring your friends over. J-Dove, I think you're new, maybe first-time commenter, but he says, no reason for worries, guys. Our dogs under Coach Smart have had a hiccup game every season. Better now than later. The loss Saturday was on the coaching staff. UGA has the depth of talent in blue chip. Here's my question to you, J-Dove. Why does there have to be a hiccup game every year? Why? I understand that now this has become a reoccurring theme of losing a game you should win or losing a close game. But why does that have to be the case? Why is that, Trent?
I don't know that answer, and I can tell you this: the two hiccup games the last 2 years we're talking about is LSU at LSU and Auburn at Auburn, both top 10 teams. This is not they were not 2 and 3 teams. They were not.
They were not 24.5 point, 25 point underdogs.
This is that's the issue. You're playing in front of your home crowd. You haven't lost a game in front of your home crowd since 2016. You haven't lost a SEC East game since
Kirby's been here in Athens, right?
No, they lost Vanderbilt first year.
Excuse me.
But they haven't lost the SEC East game since 2016. And then you go out and you're 24-point favorites. You can't have that hiccup against a team that you're supposed to win. Now, losing to a team like LSU and Auburn, that doesn't look as bad when you're getting to that playoff.
It still looks like the hiccup game, though, that this one looked like. But to your point, this team was 2 and 3. This team is guys that were 4th and 5th options for Georgia at a lot of positions, like the guys I mentioned, Rick, Jamie, guys like that. Really incredible players who I thought were really great. Obviously showed it on the field, beat Georgia. Just they were a little lower on Georgia's depth chart and weren't taken into class, obviously.
Well, Jamias is not there anymore, so.
Boy, here we go. But no, I mean, I don't understand why there has to be a hiccup game. And when you compare hiccup games, I don't think it's fair to compare this one to those, like Trent said, because it's totally different. South Carolina's thinking, and I've heard people say this is like their biggest road win ever.
Yeah.
Like ever. Biggest road win ever.
And I know there's going to be some excuses thrown out. 12 o'clock start, early start. But this is the thing: you got a bunch of 18-year-old kids that you've recruited to come to Georgia, that are playing. They're a top 5 team in the country. You can't have those hiccups. You might have that hiccup on the road every once in a while, but you cannot have that hiccup at home. I certainly don't think you just. Lose at Auburn, lose in Jacksonville. Lose at home against Texas A&M. Don't lose to South Carolina.
Yeah, this isn't the game, too. Trent, I know you brought it up at the beginning of the show. You're talking about Kirby talking to Coach Dowdle. The funny part about this is, and I think I've told maybe Jake Roos on our staff when we were driving back home. I'm not 100% sure, but I was standing at that goalpost down there, taking videos for UGA Sports, things like that. And what the UGA football team normally does is they line up in a PAT formation, and they do one last kick. They all run into the tunnel, and then they run back out. Okay? And that's when Kirby meets with Chuck right there. And so they line up for their PAT. Rodrigo hits it off the left post, goes out. So Kirby looks straight ahead and just kind of does one of these, like. Right after that, he's trying to go into the tunnel. He sees Chuck flagging him down. So not to, give Kirby any reason to say what he said, but that was the situation right prior to when he said that. He was standing right there next to Rodrigo. That's kind of their last thing that they do to get into the, what do they call that thing? The locker room.
Tunnel.
The tunnel, thank you. And that's kind of their routine, and he missed it. So, I just wanted to kind of throw that story out there. J-Dub, he says, I agree with experience. Pickens could be next level in receiving. Yeah, he can. He's going to have to show it against Kentucky.
Yeah, Pickens is having a good year. He has more targets, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. He's been targeted 31 times on the season.
How many? I know I'm putting on you a spot here. Last year, who had the most targets?
I have no clue.
Okay.
I have no clue. I'd have to look back.
I knew that was putting you on the spot. I'm going to look at that though.
But 31 targets is a ton of targets. It's not. I'm talking about for Georgia football.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking about 31 targets through 6 games, so you're talking about, 5.5 targets a game, and he wasn't playing as much early in the season. So he's getting 10, 11 targets a game right now.
I was going to say, yeah, because the first 2 games you didn't see much of them.
No, he's getting 10, 11 targets a game.
Yeah.
So I think they're throwing the ball to him. I think they're throwing the wrong routes to him. They have to find ways to. Now listen, he's an elite. He is an elite route runner. I've seen him. He can. I've seen him on the camp. In the camp, I've seen him in high school. I've seen him. He can run. Dominic Blaylock's an elite route runner. These are guys that's not your. They're physical, but they're not the physical types that's going to win 50-50 jump balls.
Right.
George can do it, but throw them slants. Use them like Alabama's receivers. Use them and Let them get out in the open field. I mean, that's going to make life a lot easier on Fromm when you're throwing a 5-yard slant and they're running 50 yards. So and that was the thing that I was asking for the whole game Saturday was slant, slant, slant. They're leaving the middle of the field wide open because they're running that cover one. They're dropping that safety way back, and they're just playing one-on-one. And run some rub routes, run something. And it just wasn't there. They kept going back to that same thing.
Yeah. B. Merritt, he says it's minor league routes. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's very elementary. Many people have said that. These routes that they're running are very elementary routes. Just have to kind of turn around, run downfield, do a slant maybe. I don't know. But it is what it is. Darius Jackson says UGA defense or LSU offense. Right now, Darius, there's no question in my mind UGA's defense would lose to LSU's offense right now.
I think UGA's defense would lose simply because the UGA offense couldn't keep up. And this is coming off.
But they still would give up points, though.
My view on Georgia right now is very foggy. I don't know what team this is. I don't know what like going in this weekend. I haven't submitted my prediction yet because I really don't know what this team is. I want to see Saturday. What I want to see is some leadership stand up. I want to see Tyler Clark get in that defensive line group. I want to see Ben Cleveland get on that offensive line group. Andrew Thomas. Yeah. I want to see DeAndre Swift step up in that running back group. And most of all, I want to see Jake Fromm take control of the offense again. I think there's a big question mark. When Lawrence Cager went down, it's like the offense was lost. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't. Jake Fromm's your leader of the offense. Lawrence Cager's not. Yeah. So,
but at the same token, every year Jake's had one go-to receiver.
He has, but he's had that one go-to receiver that he can throw those 50-50 balls to.
That's what I'm saying. And he lost it, so then you see those where it might have looked better in years past where he had that guy that he could throw 50-50 balls to. He didn't have him out there, and you saw what happened to the offense. Cager's going to be out again, it looks like.
Right.
Who's going to step up?
Well, I think you're going to have to be more creative with the offense.
We've seen through 6 games now, Trent. Are you going completely back to the drawing board Monday morning a couple days ago, Monday morning, and you're just saying, look, guys, scrap those 20 pages. Let's do these 5.
I'm not going back to the drawing board, but I can tell you right now they're running RPOs. If you can't mix an RPO slant in there, then something's wrong. If you can't add an RPO slant, they're running the RPO hitch.
I was going to say they're already running one first.
They ran the RPO hitch over and over to Demetrius Robertson. They started off the game against Tennessee with it. They ran it twice, I believe. Was it Tennessee or Notre Dame? I think it was. And they ran it again other night. They have the RPO. They want to run the RPO. They're running James Cook in motion. They're running that read play. Run the RPO slant. You're already blocking for it. Run it. And I think that you see the linebackers suck up, which they are because they're trying to take away the run. Then you just toss it over their heads. You see the linebackers sit back, you're going to open up running room. It's going to help. It's going to benefit Georgia's running game and everything else if you start implementing that RPO system.
Here's another thing, though, guys, moving forward. Obviously, we haven't talked much about Kentucky yet. We're going to. Guys, give us your call, 620-UGA-TALK. 620-UGA-TALK. Give us a call, guys. We want to talk to you. We want to answer your questions. Trent and I could sit here all night and talk to each other, but we want to hear what you guys have to say. Anyways, though, one big thing Georgia's going to have to work on, and we'll continue to talk South Carolina if you guys call, whatever, but I want to move on to Kentucky, is they have a wide receiver at quarterback right now.
So did South Carolina.
DeCarrion Joyner.
He's been at wide receiver. They moved him back.
Okay, but Lynn Bowden is a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's thrown what?
On South Carolina's roster, they list him as a QB.
I looked at it today. I think he's 11 for 16 passing or something on the year.
But that's going to be an element that Georgia hasn't seen yet.
Yeah. I mean, the backups, from what I've seen, is not very good. Sawyer.
Hold on. The backup, can he pass, though? Is he a different type of quarterback than the starter?
I don't know if he can pass or not. Looking at his stats.
Is he a run first quarterback or is he pass first?
I haven't looked. No, I've looked.
I think he's going to be pass first. And boy, if this wide receiver turned quarterback goes bad,
call
I
from
want to see the backup.
Jonah Johnston.
Jonah, what's going on, man? You're on with Paul and Trent.
Yeah, nice. I was just concerned as to last the last week's game and the weeks before. Why not have all the running backs run outside routes instead of up the middle?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do that.
You talking about outside runs?
Yeah.
The problem that you run into – go ahead, Trent.
This is what I saw. In the first half of the game, I felt like Georgia had some success running the ball against South Carolina last week. The second half, I feel like everything changed on the offense. I felt like it went back to Jim Chaney, and I feel like Kirby Smart had a big say in that. I feel like they were trying to impose their will, like he says, lean on them, and they're going to eventually break like they have the last 2 years. And it just wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. They kept on trying to beat a dead horse and run right up the middle, and I think that was a big issue because a lot changed in the second half, and I don't know what the answer is. Why did they start going right up the middle? I don't know.
Yeah, I still am questionable about that. Just the play calling in general. Yep. Not impressed with James Coley, even at the start of the season.
No, yeah, it's been one of those things, and appreciate you giving us a call, Jonah. We'll touch base on that, Jonah.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll touch base on that Coley question, but give us your score prediction before you head out, bro.
I'd say we go in 35-10.
35-10, my man's saying that the Dogs cover. All right, take it easy. Thanks for watching, man.
Yeah, you too.
I mean, yeah, there's going to be question marks with James Cole, and listen, I think there's going to be question marks whoever you bring in an offense coordinator, and that's just
Mike Bobo wouldn't be.
Mike Bobo was chastised. That was it third and Bobo or whatever they called it.
I think they still use that actually.
Flipping draw play on third down.
They always still use that.
Look, it is. He's going to be looked upon that he's going to take all the blame. All the blame's going to be on his shoulders. But I thought for the first time Saturday that it was more predictable than I have ever seen it. It was run up the gut on first down, run up the gut on second down, back shoulder throw on third down, punt or interception, or it's bad when 95,000 people in the stands can call the play before it's happening, and I think that was the case on Saturday. Yeah, you still got to execute if you execute, but you have to play to what the defense is giving you, and if the defense isn't giving you that, then you can't just keep running to a brick wall.
I want to touch on that.
Kevin.
Kevin, how's it going, man? You're on with Trent and Paul. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Wilmington, Delaware, man.
Wilmington, Delaware. Damn, are you like covered in snow right now, bro?
No, it's actually still pretty warm.
Okay, fair enough. What's up, man?
Hey, I just kind of wanted to point out some of my amateur observations of the offense. And every fan keeps screaming for the toss sweep, but they're never going to run toss sweep in the blocking scheme. They're a zone block team. So
they don't have a fullback either.
And they don't have a fullback, but they'll never run toss sweeps because it's not set up that way. You see so many runs go to the middle because zone blocking is set up on somebody getting a hook or reach, and for the running back to cut back, make a cutback run is one step and go. So the offense is set up perfectly for DeAndre Swift, but for a Zamir White, it's not quite as good because he needs that hole to explode through and be matched up with the linebacker, run over him and keep going. Also, just like everybody else is saying, and I've said it before, they don't throw the ball over the middle of the field, and it's screaming to go there. Yeah. Just like when they showed the clips of the Kentucky game where DeAndre Swift runs a little short post and he's wide open and they miss it because they throw it to the outside to Pickens in the corner of the end zone. Right. They've got to go to the middle of the field, man.
No, yeah, Kevin, you're exactly right, man. We're going to touch base on that. Give us your score prediction right quick.
38-10.
38, man, my man's covering it. We're going to touch base on the topics you brought up right now. So thanks. Appreciate it, my man.
All right.
I mean, everything you guys have said so far is true. The offense looks very, very vanilla, and we attributed that earlier, Trent, to them trying to make it vanilla. Did we not? We tried to, and I tried to tell everybody a couple weeks back, hey, maybe this is what it is.
Yep.
This is kind of what you see is what you get. You're halfway through the season. Unless there is a drastic change, like what I was talking to Trent about, throw 20 pages of playbook away and throw back out 5 brand new ones. This is the offense you got. What you're going to have to work on, Trent, is somehow getting those wide receivers separated from defensive backs. They've done a terrible job of doing that most all year, is getting separation. So what's happening is when you're watching the game, and I'll break this down for you guys as elementary as I can, and Trent will help too, is the whole defense plays, normal depth. When they see that you cannot pass the ball, they're going to push those corners up, press those corners on your defensive backs, and what's going to end up happening is they're going to clog those running lanes, and you're going to come up with a lot of incomplete passes.
Right.
Interceptions, fumbles, big hits, things like that. And all of those things were very prevalent in the South Carolina game. But not a fumble per se, it was a fumble snap, but whatever. You get the point. That's what hurts them in that situation. And it's crazy that it all stems from one thing,
Call from
potentially.
Brandon.
Stems from one thing potentially to being terrible. Brandon, how's it going, man? Are you our Champions guy?
You know it. You
Oh,
know it.
man, T. Brandon B on Twitter, guys. He didn't call in last week. Called in sick. What's going on, man?
Yeah, we had some scheduling conflicts last week. Hey, you guys keeping it cold in the studio tonight, huh?
Man, I hadn't turned the air on in Mom's basement yet, so.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
You know how it is.
I do. Well, they said I wouldn't do it. They said I wouldn't call in after a loss. They said I wouldn't go to Champions. They're all wrong.
Yeah.
Here I am.
There you are.
So, watching a little preseason NBA, listening to you guys, and
How's the Hawks doing, by the way?
I haven't messed with the Hawks in probably about 15 years.
Oh,
They're getting beat
boy.
by Chicago, though.
Oh, okay. See, you knew how they were
You
doing.
knew how they were doing, though.
Well, I got to keep up with Vegas. But, I'm a Rockets man.
Oh, yeah, Rocket Man. Elton John over there. What you got to talk to us about tonight? You just talking to talk.
Well, a little bit of both. But what I was thinking about, and you guys have done a good job talking about the South Carolina game, and, one of my first calls to you guys was how are the new coordinators going to fit in with the system? So we're not going to go over that again. My question is, at the end of the year, do you think that a certain offensive line coach in Athens would have an appetite to maybe take on a bigger role in another program? What do you think?
Look at T. Brandon B over there, man, coming in with the hot stuff. We're going to go ahead and hang up, answer your call on the show. Give us a score prediction, my man. What you got?
Oh, for Saturday night,
6
what's the
p.m.
line? 24 and a half?
About 24 and a half.
Whew, that's a lot of points. I like Kentucky with the points, but I think the Dogs come out on top. That's about all I got.
That's about all he's got, guys. He's got hot Vegas tips over on Twitter. Make sure to go follow him, guys. Take it easy.
See you guys.
That's a good, valid point that he brings up, and one that, when Chaney went to Tennessee, there was rumblings, obviously, of Pittman following him up there, and maybe it kind of gets back to this whole point where, Kirby might be micromanaging or, doing something along those lines. I think with a guy like Pittman, though, he's been around the block, man.
Pittman ain't looking for a bigger role.
No,
I can tell you that.
I don't think he wants to be an OC or anything like that. And he's got his great wall of Georgia in front of him.
I mean, he's the highest paid assistant coach at Georgia. It's going to take some very unhappiness from the. If he leaves, Georgia's got a serious problem with the coaching staff.
I guess the biggest thing, and the reason Brandon brought it up was he is paid the most on the staff. I mean, if he threatens to leave again next year, are you going to be able to pay him more? Where does the buck finally stop? That's something that will answer, in the offseason.
Is somebody else going to pay him $2 million to be an offensive line coach?
I think that's why he brought it up that, maybe an OC, but I think he might be, out of that realm right now. I think he's living his life. He's got his bulldog. He's chilling.
I don't think Sam Pittman's trying to be an offensive coordinator. I think he enjoys his group, his offensive line group. I think he enjoys that part of the game. He's not looking to move up. And now I think his role is very big in Athens. What is he, the assistant head coach or the whatever?
It's another title.
It's another title. But I mean, I don't ever see him leaving Georgia after he chose not to go to Tennessee with Chaney, unless there's some serious problems with the coaching staff.
And like Trent said, if that does happen, make sure to tune in to UGAsports.com. We'll have you covered on who could take his place or spot, whatever word I wanted to come out in my mouth. But I don't see it happening right now, guys. Definitely don't. I think he is building his Great Wall of Georgia, and he's going to relax right behind it. So, got another question right here coming in from B. Merritt. He says, Merritt or Marat? Let me know. He says, we need to be more physical on offense. Let's attack the defense instead of defending the defense attacking us. That is called dominance. Yeah, I totally agree. And one of the big things, Trent, I wanted to touch on with what you were talking about with Coley was a Kirby Smart comment where he said, right now we're not explosive. We're doing these long, methodical drives. And he emphasized that 3 or 4 times. And I think it was actually when somebody asked Kirby about James Coley's performance so far throughout the season. And he kind of deflected against that and said, long, methodical drives, that's what we're doing. But when we don't capitalize, bad things happen. He's exactly right. When you don't have an explosive offense, you're doing these 9-play drives and it ends in an interception, boom, totally crushes the momentum of your offense. And guess what? The other team's got the ball. You just wasted time, and it's just this kind of spinning motion. There's no reason to keep going for 7-yard plays when you can hit one for 70, Trent.
I mean, that's true. And I got mixed reviews on this because I believe that long methodical drives does Kirby honestly want.
Well, that's what he made it sound like that's happening.
And I know he made it sound, but it seems like he's always been like impose your will, like bang out them 5-yard runs, bang out them 6-yard runs.
That's going to be a long methodical drive,
and that's going to be what he's preached for 3 or 4 years. So I'm trying to figure out is he wanting explosive plays? Because if he's wanting explosive plays, then go to a hurry up offense. Go to let Jake Fromm call you see how good he is in the hurry up offense. If you're wanting to be more explosive, put your team in a position. Don't wait till the play clock hits 2 every time. That's not explosive, and I think that's a program. That's not the offense issue. That's the whole coaching staff issue. And I think if you want to be more explosive, you need to be more explosive. Get them going.
You definitely hear Trent. Trent's going right now. Trent's steaming up on that one. That question got Trent going. But it's right, man. It's totally right. The long methodical drives, that's what you're going to do it. If not, switch it up, man. Something's got to give. So that's all. That's going to be my key focus for this show, Trent. Something's got to give.
And if you look at the offensive number, if you were strictly a stat person, and there's a lot of people on ESPN that are just stat people that are going to look at Georgia's offense and say, well, they're putting up 500 yards a game. Well, they are. They're putting up 500 yards a game. But you can't put up 500 yards a game and 2 touchdowns. And I think this is the issue. It's more of your situational offense, more so than your overall offense. I think when you get in those third downs, it seems like the play calling gets a little still. Like they get stiff. Like there's some, I don't want to call it choking, but
sure.
I think when you get in the red zone, we're starting to see more field goals. You're not seeing 7 on the board. You're starting to see more field goal attempts. I think it's overall Georgia's moving the ball well from the 20 to the 40, but it's the 40 to the end zone where they're struggling to put 7 on the board. And what's the answer? I don't know the answer. I think you can't go back to the same routes over and over and over and over. You have to mix it up, and just let your guy win. Running a back shoulder throw is not real. You're not really winning. You're winning, but it's a 50-50 ball. You're throwing a 50-50 ball every time. Quarterback's got to put it in the right position, perfect position, and the wide receiver's got to make a perfect play. And if Fromm's off a day like he was on Saturday, then your offense looks like a disaster. And you can't have that. You can't just throw 50-50 balls all game and expect Dominic Blaylock and George Pickens to go out there and make those plays. You need to put them in better position to make those plays. And I think running drag routes across the middle, running slants. They ran drag routes across the middle the first 2 or 3 games, and I didn't see one on Saturday. You just have to put them in a better position. And, that they broke George Pickens off for a post twice. My question is, they're running cover 1. why would you run a post? You're running into a double team. And that's exactly what George Pickens made a heck of a catch over the middle in double coverage, where he basically pulled it away from South Carolina. But the other one, Fromm overthrew him a little bit. But you're throwing into double coverage when you're playing a cover one because you got that center fielder.
Greg.
Greg, how's it going, man? You're on with Paul and Trent.
Yeah, how you doing, guys? I was just kind of wondering what your feeling is on how come that maybe Blaylock don't get as many touches and just keep seeing run our senior receivers out there, and just what your feel is on that.
Yeah, no, I think that, it's one of those things where he's definitely working himself into the offense, and senior wide receivers, like you talked about, Tyler Simmons, definitely he had a rough game on Saturday. I could see it to where it gets to a point, Greg, where Blaylock starts taking over some of those snaps potentially, and we might see it against Kentucky. That's really like 2 or 3 bad games in a row for Simmons, so it's one of those things where, maybe start looking a different way, and Blaylock's one of those options, Greg. What's your score prediction,
I appreciate it. What's my score prediction?
Yeah.
37-13.
37-13. All right, brother. Take it easy, man.
All right, see you.
37-13. He's not covering. He's got 24. 24 and a half is the spread right now. So I'm teaching Trent about betting, guys. While I'm teaching Trent about betting.
Going back to Tyler Simmons, I think
he's going to go to that. I'm going to get us set up for some GIF replays.
I think that Tyler Simmons, he's a senior. And you've had 3 years to kind of put yourself on the map, and he hasn't been able to even get quality reps with the guys who were on campus. And yes, they were solid players, McCole Hardman, all them guys. But if Tyler Simmons is your number 1 receiver or number 2 receiver, then you're in big trouble in the SEC. I mean, it's just. You can't you're putting him in a bad situation, number 1, and you're putting this offense in a bad situation. And you got a guy like Dominic Blaylock, Tyler Simmons getting 60-something snaps the other day, and Dominic Blaylock getting 19. I think that's a big issue. And I think you have to go to the drawing board to see exactly, do we want to be more explosive? That goes back, do we want to be more explosive? Kirby's asking us, do we want to be more explosive? Because you got to put your guys on the field that's going to be more explosive.
And speaking of more explosive, Trent, we're going to take a look at this one here. And this play right here, guys, is one of 3 plays we're going to show you. And this is part of probably our best hit series so far this year, even better than Trent and I's call-in show. I know, guys, something is a little bit better. But the series by Dane, Young, and Mr. Rollins called Film Don't Lie. And it's over on UJSports.com. They had 27 clips like this, guys, to where they highlighted the plays. They went in depth, and these aren't just guys that are just highlighting plays for fun. Mr. Rollins works for PFF, Pro Football Focus. That's why he gets the Mr. in front of his name. But this is a play right here, guys, where Trent kind of break that down for us. This is a play that has been shared across the internet because this is one of the free clips that we put out. So.
What I fully don't understand on this right, you look at the top of the screen, you look up top, you see George Pickens. He's not even running a route. Watch, he's not running a route. He is strictly.
He's screening the guy.
He's screening the guy. Georgia is running Georgia is running a rub route. Pickens does a great job not putting his hands on that receiver. He runs
very easily.
He gets inside.
Right,
he gets inside the cornerback, and he takes inside that safety right there. And he's blocked them both. He's screened. Why? How is that not your number 1 read? If you're running a rub route on the play, how is that not your number 1 read? And that's what I don't understand.
Maybe the referee, he thought the referee was a South Carolina player. I mean, honestly, I'm
look at his head.
Guessing.
His head never went that way.
Never went that way.
So the referee's not blocking him. But look at the off coverage. The guy is playing off coverage on D-Rob. If it starts over.
What's off coverage, Trent?
Well, I mean, he's playing. Look, he's back at 6 yards off, 7 yards off.
Correct. Yep.
And you're throwing a fade route.
And so with him backing up those 6 or 7 yards, instead of playing that press coverage, that gives him more opportunity to get in front of that ball or to make a play on it.
So what you're doing right here, and this looks like the play. Look, watch the tight end right here. breaks off to the right. He's on the right. You've taken the whole defense to the sideline.
Well, it's a touchdown play. Yes.
You've taken the whole defense to the sideline, and then you have the rub route at the top. Bam.
The game's over.
Game's over.
You have one safety, number 8 right there, or number 6 right there. You have to beat. If
And-
you're DeAndre
and-
Swift, one-on-one open field,
and
everybody
from-
else is taken care of.
If Fromm looks this way, gets that safety over there, then goes back to the rub route right here. It's a perfect play call design. That is a perfect play call design. Just didn't get him the ball.
Got a couple more guys we're going to show to you right here real quick. 2 other ones. And again, guys, UGAsports.com. This normally is posted on Sundays, I want to say. Might be Monday. Film Don't Lie. This one had 27 different clips that Brent and Dane went over. So, guys, make sure to check that out. But, Trent, what do we see here?
When it starts over, I'll say, I want you to look at the 2 routes ran at the bottom of the screen.
All right. I'm looking at them. Looks like D-Rob, and I can't tell who else.
Both of them are running a fade.
Both of them are doing what, Trent?
Watch this.
Okay.
Watch them both fade. Right there.
Yep. They did.
You have 2 receivers on the bottom of the screen running a fade route. What exactly is going on here? You're right there. Bam. Maybe Tyler Simmons is running a 7-yard out that we don't see, or a hitch or something. But right there, I don't understand. You have the tight end right here.
Well, it obviously looked like, if you're looking at Fromm and how he's progressing through this as it goes again, you'll see he's looking to the right. He looks to the left. He looks back to the right. And now he knows he's got to go.
And Tyler Simmons. I mean, that's not Tyler Simmons. That's Wolf right there. He's running a corner route. What the heck is Matthew Landers doing? Oh gosh, I don't even know what route that is. I think he's ran the wrong route on this play, anyways. But
now we're digging into this play even deeper than we should have. Somebody said taking their man out of the play, which could be true, but
what's open in the field? You tell me. Watch this. Right here, Tyler Simmons at the bottom of the screen. If he runs that corner off, what if D-Rob runs a slant right there?
Yeah,
I want you to go back to it and see. D-Rob is going to run a slant right here. Watch this safety. Go that way. Bam. Right in the middle of the field.
My man is deep into it.
You have to use the middle. You're running a cover 1 defense. There is no help in the middle. Look, there's nobody in the middle.
All right, Trent, one last one. I can feel your blood pressure getting up right now. This is one that's going to hurt. It was in the 4th quarter, 9:30 left. This was the third turnover. 4th one was the interception in overtime.
Now, I want you to watch right here. Watch the cornerback. He's taking that away. He basically shoves Matthew Landers. Matthew Landers got to be more physical. Watch, he basically takes Matthew Landers, shoves him to that side of the field, and then picks it up.
He does, yeah. How is that not defensive pass interference?
It should be, but you're not going to get that call right there most of the time because they're both battling for position. They both got their hands on each other. But right here, I want you to watch. Both of these guys, it's man-to-man again. Both guys go with Swift to the flats. Look at Charlie Warner in the middle of the field. Watch both guys go with DeAndre Swift to the flats. Watch this. Bam. Wide open.
Another one right there, guys, and we're going to get these terrible photos off of your screen, guys. These GIFs or GIFs or however these youngins call it these days. But, yeah, not good. A lot of things, like Trent said at the beginning of the show, a lot of things need work. A lot of things are a wait-and-see approach. Because this team, guys, could very well be 8-4, or they can very well be 11-1. Really depends on, I think, honestly, this Kentucky game. How you come out after that bad loss. How do you manage? How do you cope? You're back at home. 6:00 game. Should be raining, I think. Are you going to go more ground and pound? Is that going to benefit Kentucky because they're not going to have to throw the ball as much? A ton of different things can happen. What I want to see happen, though, is Georgia come out and handle Kentucky like they should have handled South Carolina. And then we can say, all right, this has all moved past us. And then, boom, let's go into the SEC grind after this bye week. But I think this is going to be a very important game, Trent, one that could shape the season dramatically. And I'm not talking about just another loss. I'm talking about it's either spiraling out of control or just taking off like a rocket ship. They're 11-1. Nobody can stop them. They're the hottest team in America. Trent, it's one of two ways.
I mean, you got it. And then that goes back to leadership. How does the seniors respond to this? How does the juniors, like Swift, Fromm, Thomas, those guys, how do they respond to this? Because, and I told you last week, Fromm should be on the Heisman. I told you that before the game last week. Now after this Saturday, I think Fromm's got work. I mean, I think he's got to be able to use the middle of the field. He's got to be. You can't rely on them out routes. You can't rely, especially when you pull up the video. If there wasn't routes going in the middle of the field, I would say this is all a James Coley problem because there's nothing open. But going back and looking at the film that UGA Sports broke down, Georgia has the routes going over the middle. The rub route, perfect design. You take your bottom two corners out of the play because you're running the fade to the end zone, which automatically you see that the safety is going to drift that way in the cover one. You take the inside corner down on the out route. The middle of the field's wide open, so perfectly designed play, and then it's on Fromm's shoulders to hit that pass right there.
All right, Trent, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. We've been live for 45. Mom's calling. Dinner's ready.
Meatloaf?
You staying for meatloaf tonight? Maharry meatloaf? No. Dude, it's the best meatloaf around, dude. Best meatloaf.
That stuff was in the refrigerator a few minutes ago. Man.
Oh, boy. All right, guys. But anyways, man, Trent, score predictions for this weekend. First off, KD, DSGB, down south Georgia boys. I see you, man. I see you. I got a little DSGB in me. He says, unfortunately, this might be a 2 or 3 loss team. Yeah, man, like we were just talking about, one way or the other, I think it flips on Kentucky. Trent, prediction.
Oh, boy. I don't know.
We got to turn him into Roddy in like 10 minutes.
This is a – I'm not saying that. I think Georgia's going to come out and win the game. I think they're going to play more it's going to be a more determined football game. I think the offensive line is going to play a lot better because, I mean, they simply got their butts whooped on Saturday, especially the interior. I think a big key in the game, and before I give my prediction, I think a big key in the game is Trey Hill. I think he got shoved around, and he's playing
for the first time in a while.
Well, for the first time in a couple weeks, for sure. And he got shoved around, and I thought he got shoved around Notre Dame a little bit too. But I think he is a big part of this game because this defensive line, I think it's better than South Carolina's. To be honest, this Kentucky defensive line is really good. When you get past that front line, the linebackers are not as good. The defensive backs are not as good, but the defensive line is very good, and they're going to challenge the interior line. The Trey Hill, Cade Mays, Ben Cleveland, those guys are going to have to come to play because if Georgia's, like I said, if you let a team hang around, you let them get some momentum, they start dominating, they start getting that confidence. It's going to be a messy game. It's supposed to rain, 90% chance of rain. I like Georgia about 31-10, something along those lines. I don't think Georgia covers the 24-point spread. I could see it 28-10. I don't think Kentucky's very good on offense. They're playing a wide receiver there. If Georgia ever just shuts that guy down from running the Wildcat or whatever he runs, and Kentucky's in big trouble on offense. But I could see a 28-10 game. It's going to be sloppy. But Georgia, the main thing, Georgia's got to get out of this game with no injuries. They're beat up. They're with a game like this where it's going to be messy. They got to get out with no injuries. They got to get guys healthy, and they got to get a win and move on to Florida and get healthy.
I think I'm looking at, like you said, 31-10, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go 34-13. So just a little bit more than you. Same spread. I don't think Georgia covers, but again, we could be talking about a completely different team next week. Make sure to tune in, guys. We're almost at 7,000 subscribers. And Bliss, appreciate the meatloaf. Love it. Appreciate it. Guys, we are almost over 7,000 subscribers on UGA Sports YouTube. Please give us a like, guys. We're trying to get this thing going. We try to give you guys as much content as possible. We've got the call-in show with myself and Trent. We've got the podcast every Tuesday at lunch. We've got now the watch party with Coach Donnan and Roddy and Dane Young. Tons and tons of stuff for you guys over here that's free on YouTube. That's totally free. We want you to come sign up at UGAsports.com as well. But please, sign up, hit that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. What? Free fries, where?
Please get over 21 because free fries at McDonald's on Monday.
Oh, Reagan Morin says, please get over 21 because free fries at McDonald's on Monday. Didn't even know that was a thing. James Richards, would love to see them run more slants and give receivers an opportunity to make plays after catches. Exactly right. We touched on it at the beginning of the show. Make sure to head back and watch it if you didn't, James. But
For the love, please use James Cook.
got to. You got to. But, guys.
And Zamir Watt.
We're out.